Charlamagne is petrified right now because now he has someone with a platform just as big as his calling him out. And Charlamagne has way more dirt to call out than he could ever call out about anyone else. See, when it was just me calling out Charlamagne, pointing out all of his many flaws, pointing out all of his nastiness, pointing out his predatory ways, it made a dent because a lot of those videos went super viral. But I'm not like a big media personality with a huge 1 million+ following. So while they were worried, and I know they were worried because I received all the threats, while they were worried, it wasn't as big of a deal as it is with academics calling him out. So,
bruh, the man lost 14 million viewers. 14 million people who used to watch him every morning just stopped. And you know what Charlamagne Tha God did about it? He didn't apologize. He didn't course correct. He didn't even blink. He went deeper. Locked the whole show behind a Netflix paywall, called it the future, and told everybody who complained they were just hating.
Stupid.
Meanwhile, the numbers don't lie, Leonard. The numbers never lie. But here's the thing nobody is talking about. The Netflix collapse is not even the worst part, because while everybody was watching the views drop, Charlamagne was quietly doing something else. Something that finally explains why the people closest to him keep ending up with knives in their backs. And once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. Today, we're reading the verdict on what he just did. Because when a man shows you who he is, believe him. Charlamagne just showed us again. Let's start with what is documented and on record, because this man loves to reframe everything, so we are going to pin him to his own receipts. February 2025. The Breakfast Club channel had 27 million monthly viewers. February 2026, 1 year later, 13 million. Half his audience gone in 12 months. While he was busy congratulating himself on landing the Netflix deal, and when people pushed back, when his own fans said this feels like a betrayal, his response was to call them hypocrites. Said the people complaining about Netflix are the same ones watching Stranger Things and the Diddy documentary.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
That is his move every time. Turn the receipt around and make the audience feel stupid for reading it. But here's what he cannot spin. June 1st, 2026. Netflix launches The Breakfast Club as its first ever daily live program. Weekdays, 6 a.m. Eastern. He did not course correct after losing 14 million viewers. He doubled the bet, went deeper behind the paywall, called it historic, called it global. Bruh called losing half your audience a launching pad. That is either the most confident man alive or someone who genuinely cannot admit he was, and we already know which one it is. Now let's talk about academics, because this part of the story is not about a beef. The beef is the smoke. What is underneath it is the receipt. When academics was coming up, Charlamagne played Big Brother, gave him advice, opened doors, told him he was the future of hip-hop media, and academics trusted that, looked up to the man, said it publicly multiple times. But here's what was happening behind the scenes while all that mentorship was being performed for the audience. When Everyday Struggle launched on Complex, Charlamagne pushed academics to lead, told him revolt was the move. Bigger platform, more ownership, better future. What he did not tell academics was that he had already negotiated himself as executive producer of Everyday Struggle without academics knowing. He was going to profit off the show his mentee built while wearing the face of a big brother giving free advice. Academics found out, and that was the end of it. Now fast forward to this week. Academics is under fire. TDE is circling. Real threats being made against people in his camp. And Charlamagne calls him, not to stand beside him or to name names. He calls to tell him something is coming, but refuses to say who or where the information came from. Academics had done the opposite for him every single time. When Charlamagne was in the fire, academics gave him everything. Every name, every detail, every source. He held nothing back. When it was academics' turn, Charlamagne gave him a half warning with no names and called it loyalty.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit
That is not loyalty. That is the price list in action. You get exactly as much as you are worth to him in that moment, not a dollar more. After the first video went up, somebody in the comments said something that stopped me cold. I see why him and Umar are friends. Their views on women are similar. Think about what that comment is actually saying. Two men who built entire careers on demanding accountability from everyone else. Two men with documented histories they have never once been pressed on publicly. And in all the years they have been in each other's orbit, on each other's platforms, in each other's corners, neither one has ever asked the other a hard question. That is not friendship. That is a mutual protection agreement dressed as friendship. Because Charlamagne will give you donkey of the day for a bad interview answer. He'll drag a rapper for missing a child support payment. He'll sit across from a politician and press him until they break. But Umar Johnson has been on his platform multiple times. Never once did Charlamagne ask him where the school money went.
I've never seen it.
Never once did he press him on the timeline.
I've never seen it.
Never once did he use the same energy he uses on everybody else.
I've never seen it.
And Umar has never once addressed what is documented about Charlamagne on his platform either. Two accountability kings. Zero accountability between them. That is not a coincidence. That is a deal. It is easy to bury Charlamagne. Just ask him what happened with that girl.
Y'all know what's going on. And so do I.
Here are the documented facts on record. 2001, Charlamagne, then Leonard McKelvey, was charged with the rape of a 15-year-old girl. The case was dropped after the victim stopped cooperating. He took a plea deal for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. 3 years probation. That is not a rumor. That is a public court record. But here is the receipt that sits on top of that. A resurfaced clip from his own mouth on his own show. Charlamagne describing putting a substance in a woman's drink and having sex with her while she was, in his own words, drunk and not coherent. Those are not allegations. That is a confession wrapped in a story he thought was funny. And then there is this, also from his own mouth. On the resurfaced Breakfast Club clip, he said, "There are a lot of things guys did, especially when we were young, that were rape, that we just didn't consider rape." He said that.
And I didn't just get a drug. I remember going, I went to the sex store and got Spanish Fly.
Oh, so you
Shut up. Spanish. I'm telling her, no, me and you just had sex. Nobody else did nothing. So it just was weird that she was like, well, I'm just glad it was you. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I'm like, yo, you could have been in a real bad situation if it was another
That's a huge
motherfucker there.
compliment, man. A girl just said, yo, at least you me.
I didn't rape her. I didn't rape her because me and her had every intention of having sex with each other.
So then why would you put the Spanish Fly?
I was a freaky, I'm still a freaky motherfucker, but I was a really, listen, my
Wait,
whole...
was she passed out while you f***ed her?
Nah, she wasn't like... She was like one of those drunks where... No, she was one of those drunks where like... She was one of those drunks where she was like... Oh, like... She wasn't coherent, but she was up. You know when your girls is... Like when you're blacked out, like that... Don't know what the f***'s going on type shit. Like she was really...
She was
It's a lot of things that guys did, especially when we were young, that were that we just didn't consider. And I'm married to my wife. Me and my wife dated for a whole year. She would not give me no pussy.
Yeah.
Me and my wife hung out one Saturday night and she got sloppy drunk and passed out of my mama's house and I got that pussy.
Damn, while she was passed out?
Yes, I mean she was me back and all that, but she was really drunk. So I asked her yesterday, I was like, yo, did I you the first time we ever had sex? And she looked and she goes, I mean, in hindsight, yeah. No.
Now, this week, the Academics TV page is back circulating all of it. And Charlamagne's response was to attack the Australian running the page, not address the substance or sit with the weight of what is documented. Attack the messenger. Same move, same price list. When the receipt is about someone he can hurt, he uses it. When the receipt is about him, he buries the person holding it. Here is what 2026 looks like for Leonard McKelvey if you zoom out and read it straight. His YouTube audience cut in half. His Netflix bet getting deeper while the numbers prove it is not working. His former mentee publicly documenting how the mentorship was never free. His past being recirculated with his own words attached to it. In the comment section on his own platform, where his own audience is starting to ask questions, He has spent 25 years making sure nobody asked. And through all of it, the response has been the same every single time. Double down, reframe, attack the messenger, call it the future. The first video asked whether Charlamagne had a price list. The answer was yes. This video answers the follow-up question. What happens when the price list stops protecting you? Because the academic situation is not just a beef. It is the first time in a long time that someone with receipts, with a platform, with nothing to lose, is refusing to be bought off or scared off. Grand Wizard is in Australia and he is still posting. Academics lost the mentorship and he is still talking. The YouTube numbers are public and they are still falling. You can double down on a bet that is working. Doubling down on a bet that is visibly failing is not confidence. That is a man who has never had to face a real consequence, refusing to believe this time is different.
While they were worried, it wasn't as big of a deal as it is with academics calling him out. So the lameness and the idea that, okay, our next move, our next pivot that we're going to take, this is so stupid, by the way, but our next pivot is going to be to say that Drake, the Drake, is the one who actually runs the Academics TV page on Twitter. Now listen, there's two Academics pages. There's the DJ Academics page. That's the one that apparently DJ Academics himself runs. And then there's Academics TV, who some other guy runs apparently, but it's under, you know, Academics' name and, you know, his likeness and everything. He's trying to say that Drake runs that. That Drake is the one who tweets those tweets. You guys, Drake, with everything he has going on, all the records he's been breaking, they think, and they want you to think, that Drake is sitting behind a keyboard, typing these posts, editing these videos, posting these videos, coming up with ideas. I'm a content creator. I can tell you it's a full-time job. Okay? I have a full-time job. I have all of the things. Okay? Content creating is a full-time job. It's not something that a multi-billionaire, record-breaking, biggest artist in the world, Aubrey Drake Graham, would be doing. But he needs you to think that it's Drake. They blame everything on Drake. At the end of the day, all roads lead back to Drake.
Here's what this whole thing tells you about who Charlamagne Tha God actually is underneath the brand. He built a 25-year career on one skill: pressing people who cannot press back. Politicians who need the platform. Artists who need the promo. Rappers mid-controversy who need somewhere to talk. He built an empire on asking hard questions to people who had no choice but to sit in that chair and answer them. The moment someone shows up who does not need the chair, who does not need the platform, who is not afraid of the donkey of the day, the whole thing starts to crack. Academics does not need his platform. Grand Wizard is posting from another country. The YouTube numbers do not care about his reframe, and the court record has been public the entire time. It is easy to bury Charlamagne. Just ask him what happened with that girl. 25 years in media, thousands of interviews, millions of listeners, and not one person with a mic and a platform has ever sat across from Leonard McKelvey and asked him the questions he has built his whole career asking other people. That is the story. Not the beef with academics or the Netflix numbers. The fact that the most famous interviewer in Black media has never once been interviewed like he interviews everyone else. When that changes, and it is starting to change right now, everything he built on other people's discomfort is going to have to answer for itself. Drop your thoughts below. You already know where I stand. I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.